Hello, it's week 34 of Reasons to Hope. And last week we posted a Songs of Hope post on Instagram, and a lot of you shared songs that are bringing you reasons to hope. And then of course we had that beautiful time with Kashana. So hopefully you've gone and checked out her music and followed her on Instagram. I'm an artist, and so thinking through all that, it really encouraged me to remember some moments when I've been given a reason to hope through music. And that got me thinking about the live music experience, and that's something that I think a lot of us are missing these days, and we're excited to get back to slowly and safely. And so I was thinking about this one tour I took a couple of years ago, and it was a solo tour. I had not been on the road solo without a sound person, without a band, without a merch person, totally on my own ever before. So this was like this amazing adventure, and I really wanted to play places that would be more unconventional and allow me to have a more intimate connection with the audience and just see where that would lead. It was incredible and terrifying equally throughout, but also just mostly terrifying because it can be really vulnerable to bring your music to strangers. And so then I started thinking about that experience for me, though, what it really showed me was that strangers are actually just people who are about to become your friends. And there's this incredible sort of tradition of hospitality from strangers. And we see it in the Bible. There's this really beautiful verse in Hebrews where Paul talks about, he says, don't forget to show hospitality to strangers, because by so doing, you may have entertained angels in your midst, which I think is super cool to consider. Like, who are we really meeting? Who are we coming across in our everyday lives that, Jesus himself was talking to his disciples, and he brought it home even more viscerally by saying, and I'm going to read this because I don't want to get Jesus's words wrong. He said, then in Matthew 25, I think is where he's talking to them. He said, then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. And then the righteous will answer him and say, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? And the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. It's so cool to think about that. Like, who have we entertained in our midst? Who have we been able to reach with hope, with a reason to hope? And I think today it can be a little bit tricky with the pandemic. It's hard to maybe physically open your home or be a real practical refuge, but there's ways spiritually and emotionally that we can be there for strangers and for people in need. There's really simple, practical things we can do. I just moved to a new neighborhood, so I'm like looking at next door and trying to figure out, does somebody need something that I have that I can offer? Just talking to somebody at the grocery store and complimenting someone on their shirt. I mean, there are so many ways that we can transform maybe our next door neighbor into like your new best friend. And there's also just ways throughout the Root and Vine community. I think over the past year, we've gotten to meet some incredible people here on Reasons to Hope. And it's like, just by following their example, like I'm thinking of Russ from Wish for Your Heroes a couple weeks ago. If you didn't see that episode, check that out with Jessica and Russ. Just the ways in which that organization is supporting veterans and returning servicemen and women. It's so inspiring. And, most of those people don't know each other when they're having that first encounter or when they're realizing there's a need that needs to be filled and there's some resources available. But I'm sure by the end that these relationships are being built that will last a lifetime. And it's just by virtue of showing up and being willing. So I'm encouraged by that. I know I had a couple experiences on this tour that I started to mention, which I wrote about on Root and Vine, where things seemed to be going like terribly wrong. Like I would get caught in a snowstorm in the middle of April when that wasn't supposed to happen, and someone would help. Like, it was literally like the Good Samaritan experience constantly on that tour. And I just couldn't believe it. And at first it was kind of scary to receive that help and a little bit like, vulnerable. But then it really started to become this thing where I was like, God, like, we are all trying to find our way home, and we all need a little help along the way. And we can either be that person who shows the hospitality, or we can be the one who receives it. In both experiences, it's transformative, it's life-giving, and it gives us reasons to hope. So there was this one time I was thinking, in particular, this was the blizzard time, and I finally made it to this farm, and I was going to be performing in this beautiful old 19th century barn that they had redone. And it had this, like, you could open the huge doors and look out over their 100-acre farm. And it was just going to be spectacular because it was going to be an outdoor show. And there, I think we had sold like 60 some tickets. And it was this cute little town. So people were coming from all over. And it just, like, it was like blanketed in snow. Like, I couldn't even hardly get there. And everyone was like, no, you came all the way here. We have to still have a show. And so they brought like all these quilts and like chili and soup and beer and hand warmers. And we all crowded inside this barn, which was totally freezing cold. And we had this amazing experience. And then afterwards, the people who own the farm invited us in their house. And there were probably like 10 or so of us left over, standing around this kitchen and a fireplace in the kitchen. And we ended up just sharing stories. And then eventually I got my guitar back out and we wrote a song together. And like, I had never, I've been living in Nashville writing songs. You write with one or two people, or maybe 3 or 4 sometimes, who do that all day long for a living. None of these people had ever written a song. And I think our age span was like 16 to like 67 or something. And we were all having this incredible experience where we wrote this beautiful song that I'm totally going to record. I actually recorded us performing it that night. And then like that started to be this thing where I was like, oh my gosh, this is a way for me to like connect with people. And in a way that normally being on the road, you wouldn't be afforded that, because you come in and out and you do your thing and you don't really have that time. And it happened again. We were in Arizona. I was in Arizona at this place called Arco Santi in the middle of the desert. It was like full moon, played in this beautiful amphitheater. And the town itself has like this, they really focus on building community in the town. And so there's a lot of like outdoor public spaces that they share. And so they were all hanging around. And then someone was like, well, do you want to come hang out in the courtyard? And so I was like, sure. And literally pretty much like 20 some people came with like instruments and food and wine, and we were like under the stars in the middle of the desert, and it was the most beautiful experience. And I heard these stories of these men who had built this town, from the ground up, and they were so old. They were these just like elders of the town, full of wisdom. And then there were kids running around, and I'm just thinking like, this is the hospitality of strangers. This is entertaining angels. This is getting to be a vessel, an instrument. And it's such a joy. It's such a blessing. So I wrote a song after one of those experiences for the people that I got to know, and I'm going to play it for you. And I haven't ever played any music on Reasons to Hope because I like hearing other people's music, but this will be a fun thing. Thank you. I got so high, I got low, and all the faces that I know, they turned away. I'm almost never right, I'm most always wrong, but I wrote the lyrics to a song I never played. In the morning when it's cold, I hide beneath the only thing I've ever known to cover me. I've grown old and it's worn thin, now the only blanket is the skin surrounding me. What if I let you in? What if I let you know? Would I be closer then to letting go? Blood is burning in my veins. The feelings I feel every day betray me. If I fall, if I give in, will you betray me just like them 7 times? 70. What if I let you in? What if I let you know? Would I be closer then to letting go of all that I have known? Threadbare lies, blanket torn, the ties that bind. And if I die before I wake, will I pray the Lord my soul to take this pain from me? 'Cause I've been down that way before, yeah. Thrown the bottle at the door of all my dreams. It shattered me. But what if I let you in? What if I let you know? Would I be closer then to letting go of all that I have known? Threadbare lies, the blanket torn, the ties that bind. 'Cause if I let you in, yeah, if I let you know, would I be closer then to letting go? I'm almost never right, almost always wrong, but I wrote the lyrics to a song that we all know. Thank you for giving me reasons to hope every single week. And I am just so grateful to be part of this community, and I can't wait to see you all next week. There will be more this week, more opportunities to share your reasons to hope and encourage others in the community. And remember, we can show love and hospitality to strangers. So let's try and do it this week and give us an example. Someone who's shown you hospitality, post it, tag him, whatever it is, #reasons to hope. And then maybe by next week, we'll have some stories to share. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a beautiful week.